Hello, all. Welcome back to my monologues. I just want to get on here since we're approaching the end of the year of 2024. Obviously, it is December 6th, so we still have some days yet. But I know many people are going to be getting ready for their New Year's resolution to um, make those commitments to their health and getting back into the gym, eating better, and just any of those things to try to help make those improvements going forward in their life. So I just wanted to get on here and just share my experience and what I've done to lose 40 pounds and obviously feel tons better. Joints are feeling better and things of that nature. And also being able to maintain that weight loss. So for me, it started back in around 2016. I think it was somewhere around that time frame. I won't get into the super details of it, but a friend of mine had told me that they were, starting a weight loss journey and had come across a book. I'm not gonna probably it's probably gonna show up backwards here for you. Actually, it's called Blood Types, Body Types, and You. I purchased it at Barnes and Noble, but it's also available on Amazon, or you can probably find it used at your local um, secondhand bookshop or something of that nature. But anyway, the premise behind the book is using your blood type to kind of help you determine what foods are best for you. And foods that are considered healthy for some may not be so healthy for others. And the author of the book is a doctor who just started just observing his patients and different things that they were eating and how they were experiencing different inflammation and weight gain and different pains and things of that nature. And he went from there and just started doing a study, taking different patients and attributed to what they were eating and things of that nature to determine that certain foods were causing problems. For me, after reading the book, I went completely, like, at an instant. I went cold turkey and started right away. Now, he, on the other hand, recommends doing like 80% of eating according to your blood type and 20%, just eating things regularly. However, like I said, I had 40 pounds to lose and I was just feeling very lethargic, sluggish, brain fog, and just things of that nature. And I just was ready to feel better. And I wanted to do whatever it took to get my health back in check. So I started switching out everything in my pantry. Just for myself, obviously, I still had 4 other people in my household, so I didn't make the switch for them. But I started with myself to see how it would work for me before I extended it to my family. So I went out and started with a few ingredients and started making the meals that are suggested in the book because it does provide recipes and some exercises that you can do. I use that as a guide to get me started. There are a list of foods that are beneficial for your body, that are low inflammatory for your blood type. And then there are foods that are fairly neutral. Your body doesn't have a major reaction to them. And then foods that are full on to avoid because they cause weight gain, they slow down your metabolism, they cause the inflammation. So those foods I right off the bat avoided. And then the foods that were beneficial were the ones that I tried to buy some of the ingredients. Some of the things I generally don't like, so I didn't buy those. So I bought foods that were good for me, for my blood type. So for me, my biggest, I guess, things to avoid were gluten, corn, coconut, dairy, and I think that's about it. Those are like the big major ones. There are quite a few others, but those were the ones that I actually, once I eliminated them and tried to bring them back, adverse effects, and just like my body let me know we don't want this back in our system. So I did remove those. So obviously the weight didn't come off by the next day, that type of thing. So this is not a get quick diet. This is a lifestyle change, and that is the key to having success for the long term is modifying your diet, modifying what you're eating and incorporating the exercise or the things that you can maintain and do for the rest of your life. So my friends made fun of me because I wasn't doing exercise at all at that time. And so I would start with like just 5 minutes, or I would just do one thing different, take an extra flight of stairs when I went to work. Just simple things like that. And they were like, girl, you're going to be forever trying to lose weight doing it that way. But it was something that I could maintain. And I think that's the key, and that's what's important, is doing what you can maintain. Yeah, you can go to the gym and get one of these, get a membership and even get a personal trainer, and they have you do all these exercises. And yes, you will get the results, but are you going to maintain it? You might do it for a year, if, you're able to keep up the willpower and the determination for it. But in most cases, over the years, you know, we tend to fall off. Life gets busy, or things start happening, and we just stop doing those things. But if you make it a lifestyle adjustment and you build it into your life on a day to day basis, and it's just the way you get up, just like you get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you take your shower, or whatever your routine is. If you get established in these simple changes, and they're not really time consuming changes, it's easier to maintain it. So, like I said, I started this around 2016, and here it is 2024, and I'm still maintaining the weight. I gain 5 pounds, lose 5 pounds, and get back to my ideal weight that I started with. Gain five, lose five. But most cases, 5 pounds is the most over all of those years that I've ever gained back. Because, like I said, I made it a lifestyle change versus just a diet, to lose weight for the summer, or to get this body, or try to look good for, an occasion, or just a diet in general, and then I fall off of it and I fail. So that is all I just really wanted to share, was just that the book was very helpful in getting me started. It actually gives you meal plans that you can use and suggest it. Now, for me, I purchased it because I needed something to just help me get started into plan. Now, I bought this book, like I said, around 2016-ish, somewhere around there, and I look at it maybe once a year now, if I look at it that often. But it was what I needed to just help me get started and get my eating habits under control, and what to eat and what not to eat. Now, I make my own changes. Obviously, people are doing more research into inflammation, and there are even more foods now that I can add in that are helpful. And when I add the food, I try to do things one at a time. If I'm trying something different, I try to try one dish or one ingredient that's new at a time. And I just notice how I feel. Pay attention to that. If you start noticing that you're getting mucus buildup, like in the back of your throat, you develop some sort of cough, you feel really tired afterwards, those are all signs your body's telling you, my body's, we're having to work extra to process what you just gave us. So those are usually signs of you're having an allergy, you're having an allergic reaction to it, or you're not having some form of immune response to the food that you just ate. And a lot of people like, oh, after eating a meal, oh, I need to go take a nap. When you eat a meal, you should not feel sleepy. Actually, it should be the opposite. You should have more energy because you've given yourself an energy source. So you should have a little bit more pep in your step, not to the point where you're like, oh, I need to go somewhere and take a nap. Either one, you ate way too much, or two, you're eating something that your body is now having an immune response to, and your energy is being sucked into having that immune response, then giving you the energy you need to be active in your life. So he does recommend in the book to use a journal, just to kind of write down and jot down what you're eating in the beginning. You don't have to do this now, because like now I don't do that. I just like pay attention to when I eat something. I just kind of I'm more observant of how I feel after I eat, within 20 minutes of it, an hour, 4 hours of eating. If I feel like really tired the next day, then I'm like, okay, let me assess what I ate the day before, because I may have gotten a cross contamination of something, especially like if I go out to eat someplace. But otherwise, I've just been able to maintain my weight loss over those extended period of years because I took the time to monitor my diet. And in addition to that, I also pair my food a little bit differently. Like when I eat fruits and things of that nature, usually I eat those in isolation. I don't mix them into the foods other than like pineapple, which has the bromelain enzyme, which helps break down protein. But for the most part, I eat my fruits separately. And when I eat my meat, when I have something that is like a high protein, such as beef or something like that, I usually pair that with strictly a vegetable. I keep my carbohydrates to a minimum, like less than a half a cup of cooked rice or whatever that is. But I usually do a very low amount of carbohydrate when I'm having a high protein meal during that part of the day. And then because carbohydrates are good for kind of setting you up for your body to make the serotonin, which can then be developed to make the melatonin, which helps you sleep better. I usually put my carbohydrate at the end of the day. So I'll have, for instance, for breakfast, I'll have eggs and sausage or bacon or some steak. I do like my beef, so sometimes I'll even have steak, but I'll have that for my breakfast, and I'll start off with that high protein, and then usually I'm not, after eating that, it's either 4 to 6 hours before I'm even feeling an inkling of wanting to eat again. So when I have my second meal following that, usually it's like I said, it's a protein and a vegetable such as kale, broccoli, things of that nature. And then my dinner, which is usually around 6 o'clock at the latest. I don't eat past 6 o'clock because I tend to go to bed early. And I like to make sure my body has had time to start digestion before I go to sleep. That way I'm not having weird dreams at night, or my metabolism has been revved up because I've eaten something that is anabolic to my body, and I got more energy, and here I am trying to go to sleep. So I try to avoid eating close to my bedtime. So I usually keep my last meal around, like I said, 5 or 6 o'clock at the absolute latest. And when I do have that meal, that's usually when I do have more of my carbohydrate. I love desserts. I am not gonna lie. So a lot of times I will put my non-caffeinated, so no chocolate, caffeinated dessert at the end of the day. And so I will have that slice of pie or that slice of cake, or something along that lines. Now I'm not going to say a big huge portion. It is like a serving slice of cake or pie. That is recommended amount, not my amount, but like what would be a recommended amount. And I'll have that, or I'll eat a bowl of oatmeal, or I'll have cereal or something like that. Usually my last meal of the day is fairly light in quantity, and I'm not going to say calories, because like I said, if I have a piece of cake, obviously that's going to be highly more caloric, but I tend to have that, but it is my carbohydrate. And so for the rest of the evening, it kind of allows my body to slow down a little bit, and then I tend to sleep a little bit better when I eat it then, versus having a high carb meal during the middle of the day, and then I don't feel like I have much energy to do anything else. So I use that feeling of when I eat carbohydrates of making me feel a little bit more tired. I usually put that toward the evening when I'm ready to go to bed, and having that calmness and that desire to sleep, it pays off, because then I tend to sleep better at night. But that is how I have been able to maintain the loss of 40 pounds, and I've been able to keep it off, like I said, since 2016. And when I lost the weight, it took me roughly about 6 months to do so, and I followed it the diet, I would say roughly 6 days a week. One day I would, a lot of times my family, we would go out to dinner or I'd hang out with friends or something like that. So that was kind of like the day, I didn't like really pay attention to what I was eating except for the gluten, the dairy, those things like that. I tried to make sure I avoided because those literally affected how I felt. For the rest of the day, I would develop the mental fog and things of that nature when I had those different things, and I would feel really tired, like I was like starting to get sick, or something. You kind of have that feeling like you're just not right, like you don't feel well. And so I noticed when I ate those gluten and dairy specifically, I knew that I couldn't bring those back into my diet. So I've been gluten free and dairy free since about 2016. The other things like the potatoes, the coconuts, and things of that nature, they still make me have more of a digestive concern. So I have those rarely. But for the most part, I try to avoid them. So when I go grocery shopping, a lot of times I am skipping all of the middle section of the processed foods, the boxed items, because most of them contain potato starch and things of that nature. So I eat mostly just the meat and vegetable. For me, green leafy vegetables, so kale, a little bit of spinach, collard greens, things of that nature is mostly what I eat. And like I said, my carbohydrates would be quinoa and rice, wild rice, white rice, brown rice. Um, every once in a while, I'll do some Spanish rice with saffron, things of that nature. But usually that's about it. And I don't consume a whole lot of bread outside of when I have a sandwich, I will eat bread. But for the most part, I'm not a person. I used to enjoy eating bread all the time, but now I just find that I have a lower tolerance to eating a lot of carbohydrates. So I would say um, I have more of a low carb lifestyle. For instance, I'll have maybe one piece of toast with breakfast. If I eat a burger or something like that, I'll have that the latter part of the day, and then that would be all that I would have for carbohydrates. I would skip my rice. I would skip anything else because the bun from the burger and the slice of bread that I had at breakfast is for me my carbohydrate load for the day. And so that's what I'm saying. Once you start paying attention to your body, you will start figuring out um, how many carbohydrates, like how much you can eat before it starts affecting how you feel. And that's just kind of what I've learned for myself. That has caused, me to feel at my best or feel at my worst if I've eaten too much of it. So, like I said, I do like to have my desserts. So sometimes I will swap out eating the rice or the toast or something like that because I know I want to have a muffin later, or have a muffin with my coffee in the morning, decaf coffee in the morning, or something to that effect. So you have to, it gives you wiggle room to play with it. And once you start making it a lifestyle, you'll start being able to tweak, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel bad, and what you seem to be indifferent to. And everything obviously is in moderation. And that's the key. And once you start eliminating a lot of those foods, like I said, for me, gluten was big, then my desire to eat a lot more food consumption wise, it went down. And in the book, he does explain that gluten for many people acts kind of like a plaster along your intestinal lining, and by causing the inflammation. And so your body really isn't absorbing the nutrients you need out of the food you eat. And so you're always hungry because even though you're eating, quite a bit of food, your body's not drawing out enough of the nutrients from the food because of the inflammation that is present. So for me, once I eliminated the gluten, which took about a couple weeks, once I stopped giving my body time to heal and stuff like that, it took about a couple weeks, and then I just started noticing that I would get full faster. Like the book would have like a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I'm like, I can't eat all this anymore. It's just too much food. And it got to the point where I would have breakfast and then I would have dinner. I really didn't have much of an appetite to eat the 3 meals a day. And if I did, they were really small. For instance, like if I go out to dinner, I would take my food whenever I would put in my order. Before the server would leave my table, I'd ask, bring me a to-go box. Because when I get my food, I would automatically divide it in half right then, and put it to the side. In most cases, that food that was left on my plate was sufficient. Like I was satisfied. I wasn't full, but that was the point. I didn't want to have that full stuff feeling. I want to just be satisfied. And that's what I do. If I do happen to go out to eat, that helps me also maintain keeping my weight off and feeling good. That's all I wanted to share with you, and I hope this gives you some help and some insight. And I will link the book in the description below if that's something you're interested in reading. Like I said, you can, if you have a Barnes and Noble or bookstore in your area and they have it in stock, maybe just flip through the pages and see if it's something that's worth the purchase for you. Purchased back when I bought it in 2016, it was $17.99. I don't know for sure how much it is now. It might be the same or a little bit more. But I believe the book would be very helpful, at least to kind of help give you a guide of where to start and help you maybe find out some foods that's from the beginning that could be causing you issues. Because like I didn't know coconut was something that was giving me issues until I removed it from my diet. And then when I tried to add it back, and I was just like, whoa, that was the food that was causing me to have GI upset. And all this time I didn't know that. And so it's pretty amazing that just through observation of other people and how they're feeling with the foods that they're eating and different things, how you can learn from them and what possibly could be causing issues for you. And then, like you said in the book, everybody even is different from another. Like if you're type O blood type, you're even different from that person that's an O. So he might list that is good for you here for type O might not give you problems at all, or it might cause you a problem as well. So then, like I said, this is where journaling, kind of writing down just how you're feeling after you're eating different things to kind of figure out what's giving you problems. So you're, one, adding foods that are healthy for you, and then two, you're eliminating foods that might be ultra processed or have too many chemicals in the pesticides and the different things that they're doing to the food these days to try to help sustain shelf life and viability. So with that being said, like I said, I hope all of this helps and you find it useful and help you get on your journey and maintain the weight loss that you desire and keeping it off. And I just wanted to say thank you for watching, and please subscribe and like. Have a blessed day.